back, Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Oh, still getting used to the new set. It's a whole new rebirth for ComicPop. Yeah, how you liking the couch?
I like it a lot.
I'm glad.
That's pretty nice.
You're like, please stop.
Today we're going to talk about a story that has no real name. And I'm kind of excited about it because it has all the trappings of a classic epic Avenger story in that it's boring and sucks, but also uses the word infinity in it. Yeah, don't worry. It's way less infinity-rific than it normally would be. This is from 1990. It's just a story from Avengers. It's like a 5-part epic.
I see we've got some characters.
We do have some characters.
Yeah.
We got Captain America, Thor, SpiderMan,
Okay, very cool. Yeah.
Jarvis, and Cersei.
I'm sorry, Jarvis?
Well, he's in it. Every Avengers story during this point, like, they always have, like, some weird tangent where they cut to Jarvis. And we see, like, the conflict through Jarvis's perspective. And, like, who cares?
Do you think this is one thing where Marvel was, like, sort of aping off of
we gotta
DC?
get the Alfred.
They're like, yeah, we gotta get Alfred in.
I mean, like, Jarvis has been around for a long time.
But he's never been, like, front and center.
I mean, they don't feature him on the cover, certainly. I think it was more just... I actually don't know what the motivation is to put Jarvis on the cover.
Is Iron Man in the book?
Oh, yeah, he's the main character.
And
in fact,
well, I guess that you're supposed to ask, why is he on the cover?
well, nothing happens to Iron Man that makes you wonder what happens. Okay, so this, like I said, it has no epic name. I'll call it the Infinity Unity. Avengers the Infinity Unity. That's what I'm going to call it. Because it features a trope / MacGuffin called the Infinity Unity.
Okay.
And
well, that makes sense then.
Yeah. But otherwise, all the names, Into the Void, While a Universe Trembles, like there's different names for everything, and they're all just chapter names for what each issue is called, but there's no, like, collection of this that has, like, the epic name.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, does every arc have a name?
No?
No. They get one if it's collected.
So this was never...
I mean,
collected.
I'm
As far
sure
as you know,
I'm sure it's in an
or it's, like,
Avengers
part of a larger-
omnibus or something.
Yeah, but not its own.
No, there's no
trade.
volume, and I'm wondering if after this episode...
Someone will be like, actually...
No, I'm not wondering that. I'm certain of that. But no, what I'm wondering is if after this episode, maybe Marvel goes like, got this Infinity movie coming out. A lot of people are looking for the Infinity stuff.
Back issues covered it. Maybe we should...
I don't think it's that. I think it's more like... I think it's more like, I'm reminded this story exists, and since we have it already on the hard drives, and we already converted it for the Marvel Netflix delivery system, Marvel Unlimited, where you could just, like, pay one fee and you get access to all the backlogs.
Yeah.
Like, we already scanned it. Might as well just fucking print it and put it in a goddamn new cover.
Yeah.
They don't even need a new cover. The cover of this is the cover they use for Nebula's wiki page.
Oh.
So, let's get into
It's
it.
a Nebula-heavy book.
It is. It's Nebula's the main antagonist of the story.
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to go.
No, Nebula...
come
Well,
on.
listen, Nebula in Guardians of the
Give her a
Galaxy is
chance.
way more fun and cool than she is in these. So,
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about.
don't worry. She's still interesting. She's not interesting, but she's cool.
It says guest star in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
So he's not an Avenger.
No.
He just shows up for
Well,
this event.
not yet.
Right.
So, Avengers Infinity Unity starts in Avengers number 314, 1990. We're right on the cusp of the image art revolution that's going to permeate the comic book landscape and change the world forever.
Yeah, but not yet.
But not yet. It's drawn by Tom Palmer and Paul Ryan, presidential candidate or whatever. I doubt...
Speaker of the House.
That's right. Yeah. Well, no, but when you first
before,
started,
yeah.
But I don't think that Paul Ryan
No.
drew this.
He would have been like 15, maybe.
Listen, Marvel hired children to work on their books,
Okay.
Yeah,
particularly during this time. He's got it right. It's written by John Byrne. Now, John Byrne's interesting because he was like a superstar artist / writer. He was a perfect storm. He's exactly what Marvel needs.
Triple threat.
Triple threat or double threat.
Double threat, I guess.
Maybe he inks. I don't know. But
Does he letter?
They don't care. That's whatever. He gets a credit though. The letterers are important, and bad lettering will destroy a book. That said, I don't care. So, John Byrne was brought on in DC. He helped reinvigorate Superman. He kind of like retconned Superman's origins after Crisis in 1986. and then he was so beloved and used in there that when we did Legends, he drew Legends.
Oh yeah.
I like John Byrne's art. Fuck you.
I was gonna say I remember John Byrne from somewhere.
Yeah, he drew Legends, and
Legends was cool.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to dismiss that.
just the stony silence of Legends was cool.
I don't remember Legends.
Oh God, we just did it. Here, you can click the card above your head there to check out the episode. So, yeah, John Byrne also drew and wrote a lot of great, like, Fantastic Four stories for Marvel. And I guess they were like, let's apply some of that Byrne magic to the Avengers. So, Avengers, at this point, they had just gotten over another big catastrophic event that took place before this. And it left the facility that the Avengers were in. I don't want to call it Avengers Mansion because I don't think they're in there at this point. But
Right.
it's because they're messing with the status quo. You know, like these iconic images that you always assume are there forever, like the Fortress of Solitude and the Avengers Mansion and such. Like they're really fleeting and interchangeable. And during the time between 1963 and like 1990, like nobody gave a shit. They were like
where they were from. Like,
yeah, they were like, okay, I know the Batcave is like an essential location in Batman's history, but like, what if he lived in a penthouse instead? Fuck the cave.
Like, I don't have to show it this issue.
And we don't even need to make a big deal out of it. It's just like, no, he's not there anymore. And the readers were like, oh, I guess that's the thing. But now if they change anything, people are, oh, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, that's how everything is. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how it always was.
Right.
If they changed the roster of the Avengers in, like, issue 4. Like, come on.
That's the difference between, like, people who have grown up with something.
Yes.
So it's like, it becomes more cemented, maybe, than if you're just a kid.
Well, but the fluidity of comics should be the cemented part, where you're like, oh, it changed. Just like it always does.
Selective memory, you know.
Well, it changed, but like it changes not just because it's random, but because like no, these things take place all over the place.
Exactly. Like it's this is always
There's a whole world here.
exactly, and it's moving forward, and things change. People grow and die, and then come back, or their evil clone shows up and replaces them. But anyway, so this story is actually it takes place I think after Acts of Vengeance, which is a way cooler story, where Loki calls out to like all the supervillains, and he's like, "Hey Magneto, you know how X-Men always kicks your ass? Hey Doctor Doom, you know how Fantastic Four always beats you up? What if you traded places and beat up the other guys' teams, and then they all lose anyway?" The Avengers facility, I believe actually around this time, they had just built like a new facility, and they're like really proud of it. I remember I have a couple of issues where like they had a big thing. The president, George H.W. Bush, came with his wife to the opening, and then Doctor Doom infiltrated it and like took over. He's like, whoa! And everyone looked like an idiot. And they all had egg on their face. It gets destroyed in Acts of Vengeance, and so we get like this breath before more epic stories where like the Avengers are cleaning up and helping out the vultures of the Marvel Universe who are like trying to clean up and fix things by doing their job for them. Iron Man, Thor,
We're
and
helping out. Are you union? No.
Oh, they do a thing. Oh, no, they have a thing where they're like, okay, so these new plans you have for this Avengers facility are going to require blast permits. And then Iron Man's like, oh, we don't need that. We've got Thor. And they're like, I'm pretty sure. And they're like, okay, fine. So anyway, but the holy trinity of the Avengers, Cap, Iron Man, Thor, they're all in shithouse duty just cleaning things up. And Thor picks up... Here, look at this.
I can't stand the fact that it's called Into the Void on the cover, and then along came a spider.
It's the
immediately
name of the
inside.
story. Yeah, Into the Void is just like the
It's the call to action, I
yeah.
guess.
Oh, it's supposed to get you to read the book, even though Byrne loved this, and I actually really like it as well. The setting of bright, colorful characters against just nothing, and you'll see that used throughout because they do end up in the void.
That is the void, yes.
Yeah, precisely. So
That is also the Void.
so
How many
the
times do you think they use the sub?
Along
heading,
Came Spider.
Along Came Spider?
Oh, they use it all the time. I think in Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon show that was short-lived, when Spider-Man teams up with the Avengers for the first time, that episode is called Along Came a Spider. Like, they use it all the
Are
time.
they cleaning up debris?
What, Spider-Man?
No, in that episode.
Oh. No, they're not.
That'd be a great callback.
I know. It'd be a weird callback. They're like,
it'd
hey,
be very
remember Avengers 314?
Infinity Unity?
Yeah, which is not even called that. So the Avengers are cleaning up, and Captain America's like hobnobbing with the foreman, and Iron Man is in a weird place where it's not someone else in the armor, it's Tony Stark. But Tony Stark has faked his own death and didn't tell the Avengers that he faked it. So they're all under the assumption that Tony Stark died and handed the mantle of Iron Man to somebody else. But Tony Stark's the worst at faking his own death because after he is Iron Man and he's hanging out with the Avengers, he immediately does and says all the same things and acts like he's been a member of the Avengers since the first goddamn issue. And the only thing plot-wise that happens throughout the series is different random Avengers think to themselves, I think maybe this might be Tony Stark.
Since he won't tell us who he is.
Nope.
And he pretends like he's known us forever.
Yeah.
And since he acts exactly like Tony would.
Yeah.
Yes. So Thor winds up like picking up a huge ball of metal shrapnel from the building, and he carries it over Manhattan where he's going to dispose of it. And then suddenly he blinks out of existence, along with everybody else in the area. Oh. And when he comes to a second later, he's dropped the ball, literally, over a schoolyard filled with children.
Oh, jeez.
And as the ball starts to fall, the seconds tick away, Thor's thinking to himself, okay, I can't, I'm not fast enough to catch it. Mjolnir could catch it, but he would hit it, and then it would turn one dangerous falling object into many.
Right.
And as he's pondering what he's going to do as these children come closer and closer to oblivion, a web line shoots out, catches the giant ball of death metal, and then pendulum swings over it, and then it goes over to where Thor is, and he catches it, and he's like, "Whoo!"
It doesn't crash into a building and knock it down like a wrecking ball.
Like it should. No, but
there. Oh God!
Oh no! I've destroyed an entire building and killed everyone within it. And
Oh God! It's falling on the children.
You called it a ball of death metal that is so metal.
Yeah, it's so metal that Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are going to turn it into a tie-in. So
what happened to Thor? Why did he drop it?
I'm looking at the
Iron
panel.
Man.
no, it was Thor.
It was Thor.
Thor dropped it?
Yeah, Thor dropped it.
I'm looking at the panel he turns black and white.
Yeah,
And then he drops it.
yeah.
And it just says the world did turn itself inside out.
Yes.
What?
Well, that's the mystery. What's happening?
He felt something?
Everyone in the universe felt like they didn't exist for a second.
Oh, okay.
And that's getting ahead of myself, because everyone kind of wonders how far the incident affected everyone.
Okay.
Was it just this block, or was it everything? While Thor and Spider-Man meet up, Captain America takes a minute to go over to Cersei's house, where she is setting up for Christmas or something. And Cersei is an Avenger, or rather, she was an Avenger, and Cap is asking her to become an Avenger again. Who's Cersei?
Yeah.
The reason why we have never
Thank
talked
you,
about
yes.
Cersei is because she's an Eternal. And the reason we haven't talked about Eternals is because they're about as interesting as the Inhumans. And so the Eternals are basically just a race of beings that have existed on Earth forever, and they're created by the Celestials, and they're
oh, thank God. For a second you said Eternal, and I thought Celestial.
Right.
In my head.
Well, they were created by the Celestials as kind of guardians of Earth.
They're lesser.
They're lesser, but still way superior to humanity.
It's impressive because I knew you would evolve into humans, so I just made you humans.
Well, there's three races basically on Earth. There's Deviants, which are fucked up. They're orcs. They were elves once until they were tortured and mutilated. Anyway, so you got the Deviants who are oops. These Celestials, here we go. Ooh, they look gross, and they kind of want to kill everything. Well, I'll leave those underground. And then you got humans, which is ooh, almost, and then Eternals. They're the elves.
Okay.
In Tolkienian terms.
Right.
So Cersei is an Eternal, and her powers are... Cersei has many powers. And that's really it.
Ambiguous.
If Cersei... she has...
She's super powerful.
She's an Eternal. She has many powers.
I've been around forever.
Her convenience... Yeah, because they also don't really age. So
Must be nice.
if she had a trading card, which I know she does, probably the top power is something like telepathy or telekinesis or something, some kind of mind-oriented power. Okay. And the reason why I'm jumping right to that one is because Cap asks her to use that power throughout the entire story. Oh. And you're like, what the fuck?
Okay, but
how do you even
when
know
he
she
asks
can
her,
do
does
that?
she succeed in doing it?
She does, unlike Jean Grey in the cartoon show, where she constantly fails, or Sue in the cartoon show, or in most comic books.
Or Ghost Rider.
Or Ghost Rider every time he does anything. Captain America shows up, and it's evident that Cersei kind of thinks that Captain America's hot. And he's like, hey, you want to join the Avengers? And she's like, that really is a shitty job. But I do kind of want to bang you. So, maybe if I join the Avengers, I can get in bed with Captain America.
She's got mind powers. He's right there. Just put a whammy on him.
That's so
Really
unethical.
not okay.
Hey, note to self,
Now we
do
know.
not give men
Mind powers.
For the
I
purpose of
really
the
want to
story.
paint my house, and I think you guys really want to help me. And by help me, I mean do it for me. And where are all the hot women at? Because they are all my girlfriend now.
No, but
They all
that's,
become one girl.
that's entirely different than like, oh, I'll just join the Avengers so that I can bang Captain
Well, yeah,
America.
well-
Not because I want to be an Avenger.
No, that's both of them are shitty reasons.
You might as well just put a mind whammy.
That is entirely different than invading somebody's mind
Yeah.
and changing their thoughts.
You know, one is like probably a bad move, and the other one is horribly unethical.
It's faster.
But it is faster.
It is
yeah.
faster.
Well, and one is a guaranteed outcome, whereas the other one, who knows?
Who knows?
So,
One allows them to keep free will, which, like, what the fuck?
who wants to deal with that? There's this blonde super scientist who's like aiding these. It's Nebula, and I guess Nebula has like powers where she can either like cast an illusion spell where she looks like a hot blonde scientist,
Or she's wearing someone's skin.
or she's transmogrified herself into looking like she's wearing someone's skin. But in any case, she's there and she's using some of her alien technology to aid these super scientists in constructing a machine that will aid her in her quest for more power.
Okay.
And she has managed to do this with the aid of a Rylinian, I think. I don't remember the name of his crappy species, but his
green
name
guy here?
Yes, and his name is Gunther. And Gunther is like a robot man. And I want to say robot man, he looks like he is an Autobot.
Yeah.
So, like, not a robot man where it's like, I am a robot and I've been imbued with intelligence. Like, no. Like a Cybertronian. Like, I'm a
Part man,
robot with,
part
like,
machine.
my metal is flesh. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What do you turn into? I'm a tube for a radio.
Yeah. Like, he doesn't turn into anything except a loser. But Gunther is in Nebula's spaceship, which is conveniently parked in low orbit on the other side of the planet.
Okay.
And he's kind of like helping her out.
So he's like feeding her the answers to a question. Or
Basically.
Like, or answers to a test.
Right.
It's like, tell them this. Tell them we also need this part.
He's more like Exeter from the MST3K movie This Island Earth, where he's like aiding her through the help of like Interocitor-esque technology, where he's like, here's all the components you need in order to achieve what would seemingly look like magic to your like puny infantile human minds. So
I have all the plans, but I want you to build it.
he doesn't even have plans. He's more like a subservient to Nebula, but he's helping her out. Despite the fact that like he's a robot man, he can obviously pilot a ship, and it's like super awesome and cool. And did I mention he's a robot man? Because like that's kind of cool. And yeah,
And he's on the ship alone.
Yeah.
He's
lame,
like,
though.
I'm free.
He does look
Just,
super lame.
you just fly away.
Right? By the way, Gunther, or at least Gunther's people, did try to take over Earth, like back when he was created in the 60s.
Of course.
And humanity collectively laughed themselves to death, and he just left. Gunther is not alone, because he's also being kind of shadowed by Eros, who is an Eternal, but not that Eternal, like Cersei. He's more of a Titan.
Yeah.
He's Thanos' brother.
I remember Eros.
Yeah. His name, his code name is Star Fox. But
Do a
not
barrel
that
roll!
Star. Never does he do it, unfortunately. But his true name is Eros, and he has his power is he can like make you feel good.
Oh,
Wait,
that's pretty good.
like erotic?
Yeah, like the Eros. Yeah, the
Oh.
erogenous area of your brain. He makes you feel good or makes you fall in love or whatever, but it's not forever or anything. It's not like he puts a curse on you. It's like he just manipulates you. It's like a very, very focused, specific telepathy.
It's the same thing as eating large amounts of chocolate.
Yeah, he's just basically a delicious bar of dark chocolate. So Eros is on the ship, and he's like shadowing Gunther because he's trying to figure out what Nebula's up to, because Nebula is a relatively new creation. She was created in 85, so we're only like 5 years later. And she is claiming to be the granddaughter of Thanos, and he's like, I don't know, man, like that's probably true.
I know Thanos.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
He might have banged somebody, and that person might have banged somebody, and they might have made you, but like, seems kind of convenient. So he's shadowing her, and he winds up bumping into to Gunther, and then he tries to warn the Avengers, because he used to be an Avenger.
Oh.
And
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
used to be
everyone
an
has been
Well,
an
it's an
Avenger.
Avengers book.
Yeah, but no, but yeah. Well, he could. The thing is, like, most of the Titans are kind of like really powerful. So like Eros is like, you can be an Avenger because like you.
You can be an Avenger. You can make people feel good.
Yeah, because you have like
I guess.
because you have like not Thor level powers. Because, like,
You have the lamest eternal power.
exactly, he's not an Eternal, but he is an
That's
Eternal.
right,
But
right.
it's funny, they actually refer to it in the book, where they're like, I know that that Cersei, you worry about Eros because, like, you think he's an Eternal, but, like, you guys are not different. Like, so anyway, whatever. So, somehow Gunther manages to get the upper hand and, like, knock out Eros. But, in the super scientist lair, Nebula's helping out these guys, and here's what they're doing. What are they working on? What are they trying
what
to?
is this
construct?
what is this
machine?
The machine is going to take a 10 megaton bomb
Okay.
and detonate it in the space between atoms.
What?
They want to, and by the way, no Pym particles or anything. Just they want to be able to take the energy of a nuclear bomb
Yeah.
and focus its
it.
energy into the space between atoms so that they can reconstruct the Big Bang and generate a new universe.
But
Okay.
what?
That's their plan. And Nebula is like, cool, because she wants them to succeed so that she can rule a new universe.
Okay.
How is she supposed to rule a new universe just because she created it?
Again,
how's she
I
gonna
don't know.
get
Her
into
plan
it?
B is way better than plan A.
Okay.
And is in fact really more like plan A because plan B is so crappy and it's also in no way feasible. But anyway, so
what
they
makes her think she would rule it?
exactly.
Like she might get in there and there's people already there.
Yeah, and they're like, get out of here.
no, but I created you.
Well, she's also
Yeah,
powerful.
you created me. Like whatever.
She's kind of powerful. She's like strong and she has like wrist mounted rockets and stuff.
like Iron Man.
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah. Well, they're lasers. I'm sorry.
Oh, lasers. It's way better than rockets.
It's pretty serious.
You can
Those
use
would be
a rocket
faster.
one time.
Yeah.
Laser, you can fly over and over and over again.
Yeah,
Yeah. She's pretty
it's pretty
hardcore.
serious. Spider-Man and Thor have an adventure where they just try to get to Avengers headquarters, and the rest of the team is like outside doing their thing.
Is it because he keeps like blinking in and out of space?
They only did that one time, but then once they get there, like it happens like
It happens again.
well, because once they blink out of existence and then come back, Nebula's like, what was that? Because it happened to them.
Oh,
And-
so it wasn't the machine that was causing it.
No, it was the machine. Like turning it on made
But
that
she
happen.
didn't know.
Oh.
But she didn't realize that was what was going to happen.
Right.
And the scientist
Jesus, Nebula.
Yeah, and the old guy scientist is like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, this warrants further study, but we should probably not turn it on. And she's like, no, I've come too far. We got to turn it on. So they turn it on, and she like keeps like flipping it on and off like a fucking light switch. So like they're like, okay. And the Avengers like, all right, we got to figure out what's going on here because this is really frustrating. So Cap and Cersei fly back to Avengers headquarters as Thor and Spider-Man like get their asses back to Avengers headquarters.
Right.
So they're all in like the command center, and they're all talking and shit. And Cap's like, "Hey, Cersei, can you use your mind powers to find out like how far-reaching this whole thing is?" And so she does, and she winds up violating the privacy of every man, woman, child, and supposedly beast and plant life on Earth
Oh,
to
wow.
find out that yes, in fact, it is not localized to this 2-block radius.
Okay.
And
It's
so
worldwide?
It's
happening
galaxy
Throughout
wide.
reality.
Whoa, so she reaches out real far.
Well, she knows that it's happening to the Earth, and that's all they care about. But for you guys at home,
Oh.
it's the whole galaxy.
Okay.
So then, as it keeps happening, Cap is like, "Cersei, can you use your eternal powers to make it not happen to us?" So she's like, "Okay, I'll try." So as it's happening, she's like, "Okay," and then it happens, but it doesn't happen to them, and they're like, "Whoo, it worked!" And then, as they're all like talking amongst themselves, Spider-Man looks at the monitors that were showing the outside, and then it's just vast nothingness. And Spidey's like, "Were there trees there a second ago?" And then they realize that like Cersei has managed to protect the
building.
just the command center room within the building,
Oh wow.
and the whole universe has blinked out of existence, and it's just them in this room and nothing else.
Hey, I know we don't know what's happening or why it's happening.
But can you make it not
but
happen?
Could you use your powers to make it not happen?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to do that? I don't even know. Oh, you know what? I'll give it a shot.
And then she does.
Well, I'll
I
just
did it.
try. Oh, I did it.
Oh, I
I
did.
thought really hard about wanting that to happen, and that's
Yeah.
what happened.
So they're in this cube.
This is an awesome
Turns out I
picture.
have wish
Right?
powers.
Basically. Yeah.
That's,
So they're in
that's
there.
Great.
It's awesome. So they get there and they're like, "What the hell's this?" And meanwhile, this also took place in the facility that houses the machine and Nebula and the scientists and stuff.
Oh, so they're also preserved.
So they are also preserved about like 15, 20 miles away in
In nothingness.
through nothingness. But they're still
Distance wouldn't have any meaning.
no, but they are still they are still in their same like places in the universe. Or
there is no universe.
Well, in the previous
universe was destroyed
or taken out of existence.
Yeah.
So
There also is no light or dark. There is just nothing.
There is
there's
nothing.
no there.
Yeah. So what's it called? The super scientist is like, oops. Kind of had the feeling this might happen. And Nebula's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, you see, like, okay, I had a feeling we were going to make a new universe, but I wasn't sure if it would, like, supersede or overwrite the previous universe.
And it looks like it did.
It looks like it did, so
Plus,
we should
you
probably...
kept flipping the switch, and I told you not to.
Yeah. So,
this
like,
is really delicate work.
we should probably not, like, do this anymore. And she's like, I don't want to be in charge of utter nothingness.
Right.
This is not part of my plan, you dick.
Well, I mean, this could be how the universe started, so, give it some time.
Well, and that's the thing, give it some time, because so the clock is ticking for the universe.
Okay.
If they don't, like, shut the machine down or whatever within a certain amount of time, this is permanent and the old universe will cease to exist forever.
Okay.
So then the Avengers just show up. They use Mjolnir to, like, find... Because they use their instruments that are still working for some reason...
Even though they're not hooked up to a power source.
Yes, and they start like running out of oxygen and stuff, so they're like, "What?" So So Mjolnir tracks the facility, and then they find it, and then they basically tow themselves across nothingness.
Mjolnir's like a greyhound now.
Yeah. Well, they use the machines to to find where it is, and then Thor basically just goes like that way.
Oh.
Yeah. It looks like
Look, I do one thing. I throw a hammer.
Yeah.
It has to be able to do multiple.
It does many
multiple
things.
Effects. It looks like they tear through the wall of their building, and then they're just in the other place.
Well, yeah, they pulled their cube
they
room
pulled the whole thing
all the way up to the compound.
Okay.
And
Otherwise,
then,
we'll fly through nothingness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
I
Spider-Man
was hoping
webs
for that. I was
it
hoping for
closed.
that view of them just like against the white background, like flying.
No.
Okay.
No, you
No,
don't.
because there'd be no air.
There's no time for that. You don't see
Yeah,
that.
I guess they would.
So
die.
then the Avengers and Nebula fight, and
Okay.
Spider-Man's helping him out, and Spider-Man's like cracking wise, and
he's being
throwing out zingers.
being
He's actually
Spider-Man.
a little more insufferable than usual. And I don't know if it's because John Byrne doesn't like Spider-Man or whatever.
Well, it's because like there's really cool people around him that you're imagining like listening to it, and like, oh my god, this is so lame.
Well, and it's funny because Spider-Man's humor kind of galvanizes the team, and it like keeps their spirits up, even though they're
Yeah.
faced with like doom.
Yeah.
And Captain America remarks to himself like, "Wow, Spider-Man's zingers are actually being more effective than my greatest of speeches." And so,
What?
I know.
Well, I didn't have time to make a big speech before we blast through this wall.
Yeah. So Spider-Man like helps fight Nebula and stuff. Nebula swats him across the room, and he winds up next to the hiding place of the old scientist guy.
Oh.
And he's like, "Spider-Man, come here. Listen,
I know who you are. Please help me.
yeah, I know you're smart. Listen, I had a feeling that Nebula was full of shit because she was using technology that was beyond me. And so, but I was also like a jackass scientist, and I was happy to just use it.
Right.
But I built in a failsafe like Selvig did with the Tesseract in the Avengers movie. And so if you like pull the plug, it'll stop the if you disrupt the power flow, but really if you pull the plug out,
Right.
it will stop the machine from being self-sustaining and then annihilate the universe.
Okay.
So then Captain America's like, "What's that, scientist? You need someone to do something heroic? Get out of the way, Spider-Man! I shall go!" So then Captain America runs over, and Spider-Man, like, he was kind of talking to me. So then the two of them go, and then they get to the power conduit. Meanwhile, there's some fighting going on. Who cares?
Right.
And,
It's not like a small plug, right?
It's like
It's like a
this big.
huge.
All right, it's massive.
It's pretty big.
Got it.
But and there's energy shooting out of it, and Cap's like, "Okay, I don't know how this works." And Spider-Man's like, "What are you gonna do?" And Captain America's like, "I'm gonna pull it." And he's like, Are you like super, like, in any way? Like, you have powers and shit?" And Cap's like, "Yeah, I got powers." He's like, "Listen, let me." So Spider-Man webs the thing, and he pulls the plug, and because because there's electricity shooting everywhere, he's like, "Ooh, I know how to like ground this because I fought Electro a million times."
Okay.
So then he like stops the energy from like killing him, but still manages to use his super strength and pull the he literally just pulls the plug out, and it's like boo. And then the facility, which was like literally a compound with all the Earth underneath it, like floating in space, blink. Now it's back in its facility in Jersey, but the building they pulled is also outside.
Oh, that's cool.
So they're like, "Oh,
Oh well, we
Because
screwed up
when
our
they get
command
back,
center.
they get a call from Avengers headquarters, and they're like, the command center is missing.
There's like a hole.
There's like a
where it used to
literal
be.
perfect cube missing. Do you know anything about that? And Cap's like, yes, I do. Like, it's okay.
Here's the problem. I opened the door and I fell.
Yeah.
I gotta sue somebody.
And while that's going on, Iron Man and Vision track Nebula's ship, and so they take a Quinjet and they go out to like kick whoever's ass is up there, and that's Gunther. So the Avengers save the day.
Way to save him, Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, he was busy saving the day.
Yeah.
And what's great is they then like kick Nebula's ass and then like tie her up, and they're like, "Woohoo, we beat her!"
Oh.
And they're like, "Yeah, all right, the day is saved." And then Cap's like, and the big like clutch move was from Spider-Man. Good job, kiddo. And he's like, "Wow, shucks, thanks a lot, Cap. That's awesome." And then so then Nebula is like, "Gunther, you gotta get me out of here!" And Gunther fucking teleports her out of there, and they're like, "Oh, Nebula got away. Good thing we've got two guys literally on their way to her ship right now. Good luck, Nebula." So Gunther has Eros like tied to a chair, and he's got like a helmet thing that's like reading his thoughts, and it's like inhibiting his powers, and so Eros is trapped, and Iron Man and Vision are like gonna dock with the Gunther's ship. And don't worry, because Gunther has like robot bad guys that are gonna like kick their ass. And Spider-Man and the rest of the Avengers are like, let's go help our teammates. So then they get in a Quinjet and they go up there to meet up with Iron Man and Vision and shit.
Sure.
So they go up there.
So everyone's going.
So everybody
Yeah,
goes.
everyone's going into
Oh,
space.
and by the way, like Spider-Man's like, well, like that was fun, and Cap's like, well, we're gonna go. And Spider-Man's like, are you leaving me here? And they're like, well, I mean, if you want to come, you can come over if you want to come, like hang out with us.
You know, we didn't really think about this. We're playing it, but hang on. Quick pause real quick.
You're not.
Spider-Man, fucking.
All right.
You're not like technically an Avenger.
Well, that's the
like,
thing,
You
so-
just kind of like showed up.
Well, they were like, because you kind of just showed up, you don't have to come,
Oh, we won't like endanger your life,
and
if
we
you
won't
don't
hold it
want to.
against you.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's like, don't bench me, I'm good. I just saved the day in the last issue. Let's go. So then they all go.
I've saved everybody twice now.
Yeah, and they all get hilarious like Avengers Deep Space outfits.
Yeah.
Literally, they get their
They have time to change their fucking outfits.
No. They keep their costumes. They just have like helmets that go over their shoulders and
okay.
give them like and have
So they
independent
can
oxygen.
breathe, yeah.
Yes, but still keep their rad costumes. So they
I bet
go.
Thor's is really big
It's
and annoying.
it's just they all have the standard. It's all the same like looking thing.
Oh, okay. So
So-
it doesn't like,
No, it's not like verily my head does not fit in this fucking thing.
especially with my helmet.
Yeah, he does get to wear his helmet though. It does
It
fit.
should go on over the bubble.
Yeah, thunk there.
You look like a phoebe.
Yeah, verily, Thoom. So they go up there and they fight the robots, and before the Avengers all arrive, Eros insults Gunther enough so that Gunther like hits him and knocks him out of his chair and like breaks the helmet a little bit. So he's like, okay, I've got a little bit of my powers. Now I got to start like worming my way into his psyche. So
Oh no, my erogenous sensor.
yeah, so
You've tripped it.
yeah, so yeah, I have a boner and I don't know what to do with it.
A roboner.
Gunther and Nebula are like, oh no, and then they get their and they fight the Avengers.
Right, and lose immediately, I assume.
Yeah, well, what happens is actually Eros uses his erogenous powers to knock out Nebula and Gunther. So when the Avengers finally stop fighting
Ow.
robots,
How does that work?
oh, they're just
I gave them such an orgasm.
yeah, that they just
They
spent. I mean, like, listen.
They had to fall asleep afterwards.
Nebula does like have a little bit of like creepy pillow talk with another character in the later story because of his like interference with her mind. So like,
Oh.
sure, she gives them both mind-shattering
if that helps.
orgasms, and they fall the fuck asleep. So then they win
Jesus.
again.
Kids are reading this.
Listen,
Well, I mean, they
but
don't
it's
spell it out.
they don't
That's
spell
your
it out. Yeah,
interpretation.
like that's what's called readability, like rereadability. You can go back and
And
find.
discover new meaning.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're-
Sexy
when
new
you're-
meaning.
That's how you know that you've got a
Yeah.
timeless story on your
Yeah.
hands. So Spider-Man and the Avengers like get there and they're like, oh well, that was cool. Well, I guess that all wrapped up in a neat little package. Thanks a lot. So they're all like, yay, that we win. And then Captain America's like, hey, Spider-Man, you did a really good job. Would you like to be an Avenger? And Spider-Man's
Oh.
and then the rest of the Avengers all come over and they're like, just say yes, for God's sake, Spider-Man. Come on. because Spider-Man's flirted with the idea of being an Avenger forever. In fact, in like I think Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 3 from '67, Spider-Man tries. Yeah, I have that issue. So Spider-Man
since '67.
Oh yeah,
Christ.
he literally breaks into Avengers Mansion and fights all the Avengers to prove that he is worthy of being an Avenger.
Oh wow.
That's kind of a supervillain tactic.
Yeah.
He breaks the law just to show them.
Just to show
And
them.
fights them.
Yeah.
And fights them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Punches them.
and he's like,
hurts them.
yeah, he's like, what up? He does the same thing that the Fantastic Four in Amazing Spider-Man number 1.
What, to become a member of the Fantastic Four?
Yes.
It's called the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah,
like,
well,
no,
clearly
just
we'll
change
kick
the
out-
number.
Clearly, we'll kick out Thing.
Yeah, fuck him. He's gross.
Like, what? He's super strong. I'm super strong.
Yeah, come on.
There you go.
Oh,
I got webs. Does he have webs?
And you'll stick to walls or have an early detection warning fence? Like, nope. Listen to me. I'm like 5 things. And I'm not gross. And I have a way better outfit.
All right, but you have to take your mask off.
I quit. As the Avengers are all like patting each other on the back and welcoming Spider-Man into the Avengers, the Stranger shows up.
That's the Stranger.
What?
The Stranger is like Galactus. He's an elder
Oh.
of the universe. He's been around forever. And everybody, all the elders of the Marvel universe have like a job. Like they provide some kind of service.
Specific thing that they do.
And the
Like
Stranger,
Galactus cleans up
right?
planets or whatever.
I mean, yeah. So that's a very, very kind way to put what Galactus does. But the Stranger is like a scientist, and he explores the universe.
Okay.
And he has like a city-sized spaceship and all this cool shit. Basically has a floating fortress of solitude.
Right.
Okay.
And like Galactus, where like Galactus has like the ultimate nullifier and stuff, like the Stranger has cool, destructive, universe-ending weaponry on his ship as well. Nebula knew this, and she broke into his ship, which is seemingly impossible, along with Gunther. In a previous story, they retcon in that like before Nebula started the machine plan, she broke into the Stranger's ship and stole the Infinity Unity. And the Infinity Unity is a machine that is made from 3 super powerful machines that in unison basically do the same thing that the last machine did. But let's not talk about that.
What?
Because the Infinity Unity can destroy the universe. You know, like that machine they just broke.
Yeah, like they just fucking almost
They just
did.
But this
Oh
is,
my god.
but this is the Stranger's machine, and it's called the Infinity Unity. It has a name.
Yeah.
And actually, I think the other machine had a name too, but who cares? So the Stranger was like, "Hey, you stole my Infinity Unity, and I want to know A, how Nebula managed to sneak onto my ship, and B, where the hell it is."
Right.
So he's like, "Get out of my way, everybody! I want to get information from Nebula."
Okay.
So they're like, "All right, I guess." And then he just grabs Nebula and he like goes back to his ship.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
they don't
can't stop
fight?
you, so...
They try. Well, they're like, they're like, "What am I gonna do? It's the
That-
Stranger."
Yeah, he just like
Oh, so they know who he
blows past them,
is.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not like, who's this man? No, they're like, oh, it's a Stranger. Literally, Spider-Man's like, yeah, we teamed up one time.
Oh, it's the Stranger. I guess we should probably change your name. You're no longer the Stranger.
Yeah, they kind of all
Yeah,
knew
the
you now.
acquaintance or the guy I know.
Yeah.
I think that has a little less mystique. But anyway, so he frees Nebula and Gunther and some of their minions, and he's like, Nebula, tell me more about what's going on. Nebula's like, was it good for you when I broke into your shit? Like, she's still got Eros's... and so you're like, what?
Yeah, she's got this dopey grin on her face.
That's her, that's her post-coitus. Like,
Yeah. But
it's great is she's like, was it good for you?
Bizarre.
And the Stranger's like, what? What are you doing? Are you coming on to me? I'm scary.
Am I not intimidating?
I look like the Colonel in a kilt. So, the Stranger, you know, he leaves with Nebula.
I'm still stuck on that.
What on the Stranger?
What?
That's what? No,
Ah!
no.
This is not what this is!
I'm not here to bang you. You what? No. Come on. Be serious.
Be professional for
I'm
a
the
minute!
Stranger. So then he leaves with her on his ship, and then the Avengers are like, "Oh, well, we'll have to go follow him." And then, like,
Why?
because they don't want him to kill her, they trip over themselves throughout the entire thing about like, we can't kill Nebula, we can't kill her minions, we can't kill Gunther.
We also can't let them be killed.
Right.
Yeah, but now this is someone like way more authoritative.
they're the
than
Avengers,
ever.
and literally Spider-Man's like, maybe we should go. And Captain America's like, this is part of being an Avenger, son. You better step in
You gotta
line.
fight like celestial beings to
Yeah.
prevent them from killing
Yeah,
people.
and Spider-Man is
Prevent
like,
them from killing villains.
Yeah,
Yes.
prevent them from killing other
But
like
that's the thing
super
is-
powerful like cosmic entities.
what's frustrating is John Byrne.
like this is beyond you, Avengers. Just let it go. It's
I
none of
know,
your business.
but they
at this
don't.
point.
So like, what frustrates me is that like John Byrne like clearly doesn't get Spider-Man, and he's like, yeah, we should leave. And it's like, no, Spider-Man has literally fought Heralds of Galactus to protect people.
Right, he would be the one.
He'd be the
saying we
first
should do
one
this.
going,
Yeah.
and the Avengers would be like, well, fucking the Stranger's got him, we gotta go.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man's like, no, we can't let her die. And they're
Yeah,
like,
but
why?
is this MJ?
What do you mean?
Like,
What?
Nebula's not MJ, so like,
Oh,
why should he?
No,
care?
he does care about, like, he cares about all life. It's all sacred. It's all
Okay.
part of the great responsibility. So they're all thinking about leaving and going to stop the Stranger, and then the Stranger's, like, minions show up. They're also, like, robot guardians, and they're like, no, you can't go. And the Stranger said no.
We knew you
And
would
then-
try.
And then he's like, see, I told you. And then, like, and then one of the robots, like, projects the Stranger's like, hey, don't come onto my ship. I told you not to follow me. Like, I just left.
It's like a hologram of him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, no, seriously though, don't come on my ship.
Yeah.
And it's still huge.
Yep. So,
Okay, well, we're gonna come on your ship.
No,
Yeah.
don't come on my ship. I told you don't.
yeah.
We're leaving right now.
No, stop.
don't.
No, don't.
I'll
Don't
send
do
more
it.
robots
I'm telling
if
you.
you do.
I'm super serial. Do not come on my ship.
Yeah.
Thanks, Al Gore.
Yeah. So Spider-Man makes a joke, and the big head of Oz is like, "Hey, it's not even funny. Don't make jokes. Serious. I'm the Stranger." So we get the flashback that tells us
is so
how.
lame.
I know.
Everything in this is so lame.
What? No, wait. The Infinity Unity is now
This
in play.
this is not lame. Spider-Man became an Avenger.
Yeah, it's a seminal chapter in the Avengers and Spider-Man.
way. It's
Yeah.
so sad.
The Stranger leaves with Nebula, and she tells her story about how like she and Gunther broke in, and they still have Gunther like all tied up and stuff. So they're talking to him, and
Oh, they're like punching him. Like, you'll tell us
No.
what Nebula did.
no, they don't need to punch Gunther. They just need to like speak to him harshly.
Right. And he's like, oh,
We'll
okay.
disassemble you.
Yeah. So then,
No, disassemble. That's my short circuit reference for the day.
it was pretty good. So the Avengers all basically start like looking for the Infinity Unity. They're like, we gotta find it because this
Like
terrible,
in her ship?
yeah, this terrible like, well, because Gunther tells them like, oh, yeah, we have the Infinity
It's
Unity
right here.
and we booby trapped it, so don't touch it or it'll like destroy everything.
Okay.
And so they're like, all right. So then
It's
Spider,
convenient of the Stranger to leave
I know.
with her when it was there the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, obviously it's going to be on her ship.
I know, but so Spider-Man kind of breaks off from the group and he finds the Infinity Unity,
Of course.
because he has his spider sense and it like has like major danger by the fucking Infinity
Oh,
Unity.
because it can destroy
Okay,
the
that
universe.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fair.
and he's like, okay,
Kind
I found the Infinity Unity, and like we need to get it, and time is a factor. So, like, I know
Why?
they told me not to touch it because because it
Is
was
it going to go off?
yeah,
Is
it's
there
gonna
a
go off
timer?
because
Oh.
there's a whole yeah.
There's a
Okay.
proximity.
It's bullshit.
thing.
It's fake.
Oh.
Gunther lied. He's like,
But then the Spider Sense shouldn't have detected it.
oh no, it's still bad.
No, it's not
news.
the booby
Oh.
trap. It's the thing itself.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So Spider-Man's like, okay, I can't touch it, but maybe if I use my webs, like I can like technically touch
Spider-Man,
it.
That's not touching it.
Yeah,
that's
that's
still
a-
touching it.
It's a really bad idea,
See, he
Spider-Man. You
webs
don't
it.
really know anything about this thing.
I know.
Okay, I'm not going to press the button to detonate the world, but if I web it,
But if I push it with a stick,
so I'm technically not touching it.
He literally thinks to himself, what's the worst that's going to happen?
yeah.
When I web this thing that could destroy the universe could be destroyed. That's the worst thing that could happen.
yeah. So he webs it, and
It's also the purpose of it.
it explodes, or it emits a huge burst of energy,
Oh.
and then the story,
Yeah.
yeah. And you're like, oh, what happens? And then but that should be where the chapter ends. But instead, Quasar shows up because Captain America like called him using the Avengers priority alert signal. Because Quasar is their cosmic expert, and they're dealing with Nebula and stuff.
Okay.
And Quasar shows up, and he's like,
cuts to Quasar.
Jarvis, what's up? And Jarvis is like, why don't you and I wait here until the book's over? So they do. It turns out they actually reprogram... Okay. If the machine that makes universes doesn't work out the way they planned, they had this thing where once it was turned on and the energy was emitted, it would get funneled into... The energy, that is to say, that was emitted from the machine,
Sure.
would get funneled into the Infinity Unity because they like jury-rigged the Infinity Unity, and then they reprogrammed the Infinity Unity, or rather like jury-rigged it so that it would do something other than what it was programmed to do, and they put in a bionic implant into Nebula so that basically they turn on the machine over here that's going to destroy the universe or create a universe, and the energy output from that gets funneled into the Infinity Unity. So now the Infinity Unity has like...
Kind of like a battery.
Yes, the Infinity Unity has absorbed that energy.
It's like supercharged.
Yeah, and it's got it. And then they have a bionic like Wi-Fi signal in Nebula's forehead. And so if anyone touches the Infinity Unity will activate, and the energy that was stored within it will go into Nebula, and then she will become like infinitely powerful.
So why didn't they just funnel it into her in the first place?
Why wasn't that just
Why
the
didn't she
plan?
just do that? Because we needed to make it 5 issues.
And we needed Spider-Man to trigger it so that
Well-
he'd get kicked out of the Avengers at the end of this book.
What? Nebula becomes like an all-powerful god, and she's like, "Hey, stranger, fuck you. You're dead. You're back. You're dead. You're back." And he's like, "Stop making me die." And she's like, "Nah." And she keeps doing it. And then she's like, okay. You're back.
Wow.
And then she's like, "Hey, everybody, let's do this. You know what's fun? Let's fight. Let's fight. Because like you can't beat me. So like let's just fight." So then they start fighting.
Oh my god.
And Spider-Man's like, we're gonna die.
Yeah.
And Cap's like, "No, we'll never die. If we have hope."
Remember that thing where I said we should leave?
Yeah, told you so. So they fight, and
Alright.
by the way, like on the way to the to Gunther's ship, when Vision and Iron Man are like side by side, and like and driving there, Iron Man makes like a passing reference to like things they've done, and Vision's like, "Mental note: this guy probably is Tony Stark." Just another character that reinforces the whole Tony Stark thing.
Subprocessors compute that the most likely possibility is that he is Tony Stark.
Exactly.
I'm
So-
also Vision, and you're Tony Stark.
I could literally just like look through your helmet and stuff, but I'm not gonna do that. So
That would be wrong.
That would be an
Also-
invasion of privacy.
yeah, that would be fucked up. So
Then
then
Cersei looked into everyone's like head, shouldn't she know?
yeah, but she wasn't looking for that. She was looking for whether they all experience the same thing.
Right. Okay. So they fight this fucking
They
god.
fight.
which-
So they fight this god, and by the way, she's also like,
She doesn't
"Hey,
kill them for no
hey, the
reason."
universe doesn't exist anymore." Oh, it does again. Oh, nope. So,
She's being Thanos when he had the
Yeah.
Infinity Gauntlet.
yeah.
So they're just rehashing it.
Almost like worse. Like she's doing it and undoing it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like on a like crazy like power trip.
Yeah.
Nebula, you're gonna drain your battery.
Yeah.
No, they don't do that.
No.
No, that'd be interesting, but no. No, what they just rip out the implant in her forehead.
Oh.
Even though she's a god.
Well, she's
She's gotta have a weakness.
she made herself vulnerable or corporeal so that she could fight them and prove how awesome she is.
Right. That was her mistake.
So then they punch her and they win.
How did they get the thing out of her head?
Oh, I think Cersei like uses her powers like a scalpel and like does like like power surgery on her. She just cuts it out.
So what
Thanks,
was the
Cersei.
whole thing about setting off a nuclear bomb between atoms?
Oh, that was to create a universe. That was to generate the energy that would produce a
Oh.
Big Bang.
But since it didn't create the Big Bang, it went into the Infinity Unit.
the whole plan was to funnel it into the Infinity Unit.
Well, she calls it Plan B. I think Plan A was to create a new universe, but because it was a universe of nothingness, she was like, fuck it. We'll go with the Infinity Unity plan. Which is like,
Okay,
what?
That's weird.
Which doesn't make any goddamn sense.
All right.
So,
Hey, a Dick Tracy ad. Something that's actually good.
man, I wanted those wrist communicators,
Yeah, they were great.
and now I have a phone.
That's just like a million more
It's
things.
way better.
And you could have a rich communicator if you wanted.
Yeah, I could have a wrist communicator app on my phone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I have
You
the
could get
Apple Watch.
Yeah, you get an Apple Watch
Yeah.
that does like way more
Oh,
things
and
than a
like
wrist
the
communicator.
video conferencing.
Yep.
Still, that wrist communicator was pretty BA.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah.
And that movie was great.
It was fun. I like it.
Haven't seen it in a long time.
No, I wonder.
Al Pacino is really over the top.
He's like a Joel Schumacher Batman villain in that movie.
Yeah. Actually, every villain is a Joel Schumacher villain.
Yes.
Because they're all incredibly...
Colorful and exaggerated and
Yeah.
like over and
they're
hammy.
caricatures.
Yeah. Maybe Joel Schumacher just saw Dick Tracy and was like, that, right?
I can do that.
I can do that. Easily. They meet Nebula and Stranger's like, thanks. And then they leave. And
Thanks, I'm taking my device back, though.
Oh yeah, no, he takes the Infinity Unity. Because it's his. He's like, I'm an LD. Trust me, I've been around since the beginning of everything and stuff. And like, listen, if I was gonna destroy the universe, A, you couldn't stop me, and B, I would have done it already.
Couldn't you just destroy the Infinity Unity since,
I might need it.
I built it for a reason.
Yeah, that's
Turns
the thing.
out-
Like, why
Turns out it's
though?
not really a bad plan. I'm going to put this chip in my own head.
Yeah, and then use
It was
it.
my contingency plan in case the universe starts to really suck.
Yeah, I'll just reboot
I'll
it.
just reboot it.
I'm just saying, you guys keep doing what you're doing. My hand's inching closer towards the switch.
Yeah, if you don't fix things,
If you don't make
I
these
might
books
have
any
to-
better.
I might.
So
I just have to clean the slate.
yeah. So then
I'll do it.
They. So then they all go home and they're like, "Hey, Quasar, what were you doing here?" He's like, "I didn't do anything." And they're like, "Right on."
I waited for you.
And indeed he did. And then
What the fuck?
and then Spider-Man's like, "Cool." And then Cap's like, "Hey, Spider-Man, can I meet you outside?" Listen, and by the way, he doesn't blame him for the Infinity Unity thing.
Oh.
He just says he's not powerful enough to be a member of the
Fires
Avengers.
him in private.
What?
He's like, "Your powers are more suited for like, like the friendly neighborhood kind of variety, And Spider-Man's like, "That's fair. You guys don't really seem to do anything against Kingpin or any like organized crime."
Right, you could beat them in like a second, and you
But
don't.
you don't. And Cap's like, "And maybe it's better that way anyway." And Spider-Man's like, "It is not.
Nope. You suck.
Thanks for nothing.
Bye."
Leave." You're welcome, by the way. I saved the day.
Yeah, you did. You also, I can't believe Cap didn't say like you set off the trap.
Well,
Someone was going to
for
set it
no
off no matter
reason.
what.
I don't think anyone knew.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. Spider-Man didn't tell him, but I thought that's where this book was going because that
No, they-
would make sense.
No, they did. Stranger knows that he did it,
Oh.
and they all do. No, Stranger...
Oh.
And Stranger, by the way, says out loud, like, he goes, "Spider-Man, it was an accident."
So he tries to let Spider-Man off the hook.
He
and
does.
it was just like, yeah, it was an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Avengers aren't allowed to have accidents. You're out.
He doesn't even blame him
How
for
could he
it.
have
No,
known
he's just...
that his web would set off the trap that she said was set
Yeah.
on the thing?
Yeah.
How could he have known?
It's true.
He had no choice but to randomly throw a web at that thing, hoping against hope that it might accomplish the thing
Yes,
that he
I know.
wanted.
The Stranger would have touched
What?
it, and it would have fucking still made her infinitely powerful.
But at least the stranger knew what he was doing.
Yes.
Spider-Man didn't. He just guessed
Yes.
based on nothing.
But that worked out last time. Anyway.
Well, my
So-
spider sense didn't set it off when I
Tell me
by the way,
not
my
to
web.
throw my web at it.
What's hilarious about Avengers history at this point? So Cap's like, "Yeah, I know that you're like way more powerful than like Hawkeye, who's leading an Avengers team right now, Avengers
Right?
West Coast, but like you're more suited for like Daredevil team ups. So get the fuck out of here." And then like I think the next issue or the next two issues later, Captain America is trying to like get serious about the Avengers, and he calls like a team meeting, and nobody shows up because they all don't take it seriously. And then he's like, "This is bullshit." And then he basically just like says that no one takes the Avengers seriously, and it's like, you had Spider-Man on the Avengers, and he was happy to be there, and you fucking fired him for no reason.
Yep.
And now you are begging for members.
Yeah. Also, Spider-Man's objectively more powerful than you.
Yeah.
Who are you to tell Spider-Man?
He's also like a super scientist,
Yeah.
or at least he's the makings of one. Like he's Hank Pym and Hawkeye and you all rolled into one, plus extra special powers. Oh, plus he can also see danger before it happens.
Yeah.
You have
What
a shield.
You have a shield and you're strong.
You can jump far, and not like farther than Spider-Man.
Yeah, he can also jump far, and he is also super strong.
Yeah, and he can stick to walls.
And he has webs, and he's super smart.
He can also make a shield out of webbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not
it's not a
vibranium.
vibranium shield.
I think it's Cap's like, we only have room for like one
like weak
regular guy.
person.
And it's me.
Well, I'm a soldier. I'm a leader.
My
I have
superpower is
super
tactics.
leading ability.
Yeah, he does, and that's every time you ask anybody like, "What's Captain America's fucking job anyway?" He's a master strategist, and he's the leader. He's a natural-born leader, and his
Alright.
leadership skills are unparalleled. Unless you talk about Cyclops, is also a natural leader, and he's also super.
Yeah, but
strategically minded.
Captain America has rousing speeches.
Yes, he does, which he doesn't get a chance to give a single one in this entire story. Infinity Unity, a story that no one asked for, even when it was coming out, and I did it. You're welcome. I don't know where it will be. I normally put a link in the description box below this video for
It
you
might
to
not
find
be
it.
possible.
That's not. You can't get it.
I don't know. I'll try to find
Buy
it.
these books. Buy issues
This was these
314 to
all the way to
318.
318. These are
Of Avengers.
these were in the dollar bin at every comic book store I've been to in the last 10 years.
Okay.
Except for issue 316, which for some reason was $5, and I should have bought it when it came out, but I didn't, and so it's not in this collection. But hey,
why would it be $5? Was it the first appearance of
I don't
any
know.
particular
It's
character? or
here's the
anything?
thing. What's hilarious about it is in one comic book store I was in, this issue was on the rack in the quarter bin, and in the Avengers back issues for $5.
Wow.
So
It's just
it's completely
It's inconsistent.
Here's the thing: if you don't have an arbitrary price guide published by a team of panelists that are paid by the Big Two, then
could you know
how
what
can
things
you
are
make
worth?
heads or tails about what comic books are worth? Infinity Unity, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys next week with another episode of Back Issues. I'm Sal.
Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
So long, and thanks for watching.
I wanted to end that with, and I'm sorry.
I am sorry, though,
That you did this.
that we did this.